So you want to build some muscle, get into shape, but you don't have the time or access to get to a gym, you don't have any equipment at home. Well, don't worry, because when I first started out, I was in exactly the same position. I didn't know how to do the exercise correctly, nor how to use everyday objects that everyone has, substitute for exercise equipment at home or weights in the gym. Which meant when I first started out, I didn't make the progress I should have done, and if I knew then what I know now, I would have progressed so much more rapidly. And with the following tips I'm going to share with you, by the end of this video, you'll be making super fast gains on your fitness journey, whether you're a beginner starting out or the workout you're currently doing is just not effective nor working for you. So the first rule is to set up an effective exercise program, and to do this you need to understand exactly not only which muscle groups you're targeting, but which segment of each muscle group you're targeting, as this will differ depending on the plane of motion in which you perform the exercise in. So when targeting the chest, for example, it's important to choose a selection of exercises that will target both the middle, lower and upper chest, and also objects in the house to enable you to perform those exercises. The most basic of these of which is push-ups, which can be performed on the floor with absolutely no equipment whatsoever, which will target the middle chest, front delts and triceps. Then decline push-ups, which you can use a chair for. This will target more the upper pecs, front of the delts and the triceps. And finally, it's important to select an exercise that targets the lower chest, and you can do dips off a low surface, or if you're more advanced you can do dips using a whole body weight, using two everyday objects such as two chairs or similar surfaces to dip between to replace a parallel bar dip station. And similarly, when you're setting up an effective exercise program for your upper back, you want to choose a selection of exercises that target not only the lats but also the traps, rhomboids, scapula, rear delts and spinal erector of the lower back. And an effective selection of exercises will be inverted rows using two weighted down chairs, which will build muscle density and thickness throughout the lats, rear delts and rhomboids. Lying Superman swims, which will hit more directly the traps, lower back, scapula and rhomboids. Inverted towel rows to help widen the lats. You can use two corners of the room to do wall delt raises to effectively target the rear delts. And lying reverse chair extensions to hit more directly the muscles of the lower back. And as you get more advanced, you can even do pull-ups, holding onto the ledge at the top of a doorway and pulling yourself up, effectively hitting all the muscles of the upper back, including the lats, rhomboids, scapula, rear delts and traps. And when devising an effective program for the shoulders, you could begin by doing forward pike leans and alternate body taps, moving on to pike push-ups, elevated pike push-ups, eventually moving on to even more advanced shoulder exercises such as handstand push-ups, which will effectively hit the anterior, front and lateral side head of the deltoids. And because the majority of body weight exercises for the chest and back are compound exercises, it means they'll also indirectly target the triceps and biceps as well. However, just like in the gym, it's also good to include some exercises that target more directly these areas. Some examples of which for the triceps would be Sphinx push-ups, floor, body weight extensions or chair tricep extensions. And any exercise where you're pulling your body forwards in a curling motion will directly target the biceps, just like bicep curls would do in the gym. Now don't worry, because I haven't forgotten about legs. I'm going to explain to you how to effectively train legs using your own body weight and not make the mistake that I made at the beginning that led to a long-term knee injury. But before I get to that, it's important that I explain to you rule number 2. And this is choosing the correct number of sets and training frequency for both pulling and pushing exercises, which is especially important if you're training to failure or near failure, as making effective progress as a natural athlete in calisthenics, just as in weightlifting in the gym, doing too many sets will hinder your body's ability to recover and you won't make the gains that you could. Just as by not taking enough rest time in between pushing and pulling routines, you'll hinder your ability for your muscle tissue to repair itself and for you to make consistent progress. So how many pushing and pulling exercises would I recommend that you do per week? Well, although this depends on a number of factors such as your age, lifestyle, diet, the amount of rest you get and also your testosterone levels, I found as a general rule that's worked for me well over the years is to try to stick to between 12 to 14 sets per pushing and per pulling exercises each week. And as pushing and pulling routines can be divided up in different ways, I would suggest if you were to train your chest, shoulders and triceps all in one day, or your back and biceps all in one workout per week, I'd recommend that you err towards the lower range of around 12 sets per pulling or pushing workout. And if you divide them up, say for example training your chest and triceps on one day, shoulders on a separate day, training your back on one day, your biceps on a separate day, I've found the higher range of around 14 sets per pushing or pulling workout to be more effective. Which leads me on to my second point, which is however you decide to split up your workouts, it's essential you leave at least 48 to 72 hours between each pushing and pulling routine, because it's not whilst you're exercising that your muscles recover, it's whilst you're resting in between each exercise session, as well as ensuring you get plenty of lean protein, complex carbs, vegetables and a clean, healthy diet in order to aid recovery too. And this brings me now to a final very important topic that I briefly touched upon earlier, and that's how to effectively train your lower body using bodyweight exercises at home with calisthenics, and the traps you want to avoid. Because when I first started out, I was training calisthenics at home, just doing endless sets of squats, and I actually ended up with a knee injury as a result of that, which took around 9 months to heal. So how do you build up your lower body just using your own body weight? Well, the most effective way of doing this is to combine a variety of different exercises that target the legs in different ways. And by alternating these exercises around within your workout in a sequence where each exercise targets a different section of the lower body, so you're performing one exercise that targets mainly the thighs and glutes, and some examples of these would be bodyweight squats, crab walks and box step-ups. Alternating these with exercises that target mainly the hamstrings, such as one-legged Romanian deadlifts, glute raises, one-legged glute raises. And once again, these can be varied with exercises that target more specifically the hip flexors, glutes and abductors, such as Bulgarian split squats or alternating or forward lunges. And of course you can add in exercise for the calves as well. And the benefits of training your lower body this way, especially when done with minimal rest time, for example 45 seconds on with a 15-second rest in between, means that you're targeting your entire lower body from every conceivable angle, giving you maximum results, and you're avoiding repeating the same movements over and over again, preventing injury and giving you the best possible results in the shortest amount of time. And I'll include a link at the end of this video to my leg workouts, which I've organised in playlists for your convenience, giving you a variety of excellent lower body routines that will give you maximum results. And by putting into place the strategies I've outlined in this video, you will be able to boost your fitness journey from the very beginning, avoiding the potential pitfalls, maximising your gains and going from strength to strength on your fitness and calisthenics journey. So if you found this content helpful, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, share with your friends, turn your notifications on so you don't miss out on any future videos. I'll be posting my next workout video on Thursday. Have a great week everyone, and see you in the next video.